Welcome to Fulhamish full-time live from the Old Suffolk Punch after Fulham's unfortunate 2-1 defeat to Nottingham Forest at Craven Cottage. It's not as bad as it might have seemed. My name is Jack Collins and I'm joined by George Singer and Lydia Campbell to dissect and have a little look at what went wrong for Fulham today. So, Lids, immediate thoughts? What'd you go through after, obviously it's a bump down to earth after the Millwall game, but not as bad as it might have seemed.
No, I mean, we could go all doom and gloom and think, oh my word, like, look at all the possession we have and we can't score, but what is the point in that? I think realistically, we made a couple of minor mistakes today and it cost the game. On another day, I think we would have had enough to win. So we have to sort of hold on to the positives and just move on to next week. It's August.
It is August.
It's early.
George, what were your first thoughts? Obviously a bad start. This is becoming a little bit of a theme. We don't start games particularly well.
Yeah, and Forest, made the most of it. I thought Graben finished really well. I thought he had Lewis Graben doing Lewis Graben things. He's there to do one thing and kind of poach, and he's so good at it. Both of his goals were wonderfully taken. But in general, it was a really strange game. It was one of the most entertaining, competitive, crazy games like I've seen in a long, long time. It had pretty much everything from, huge attacks, counter-attacks, and we threw the kitchen sink at it, but it just wasn't enough to get the draw in the end.
Yeah, I mean, Fulham huffed and puffed in many regards, Lids, and we went 1-0 down. It wasn't an ideal goal to concede, but sometimes you have to look back and be like, brilliant cross, good finish.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I thought their goal was their opening goal was slick. It's the kind of goal that if we had scored, we'd all be buzzing about it. I think Joe Lolly is a really handy player in the middle of their park, and I think he made it. And as you say, Lewis Graben doing Lewis Graben things. He's just he's there at the right place, right time. And I don't think you could really blame anyone in particular. Maybe just a wee bit of a slow start for us.
I mean, it seems difficult to look at, but we actually dominated quite a lot of the first half. We didn't, however, create many clear-cut chances, and I suppose credit needs to be given to Forest. They pressed high to begin with, and then if they didn't win it with a high press, they dropped off and went really, really deep, and that was something that we haven't seen before. And look, after Millwall, we were like, right, here we go, we're going to walk this, it's going to be fine. But actually, there are teams that are smart, and Forest was smart today.
100%. I was really impressed with, they clearly did their homework on us. Whenever they lost the ball, they pressed high immediately. They put quite a lot of pressure on our centre-backs, but when they worked out that Mawson and Ream were so comfortable, they adapted and they dropped back a lot deeper. And I think that's where, our centre-backs were great on the ball. Harry Arter, who I thought had a really good game, he was comfortable building from the back, but we were never really able to kind of penetrate the defence. If you look at our shot maps and where we took the shot from, they're really far back. It was really deep, and it's just a sign that we can never quite break through them. And spoke a bit after the Millwall game. Yeah, we had all that possession, but after posting the shot map and some of the XG numbers, it was actually a bit closer than you might have thought. We only had 10 or 11 shots on goal, and whilst we all loved the game and we came away from the Millwall game really happy, it did feel that we had all these chances, and yet did we actually create many great shots on goal? And I think we saw that today. We had all the ball. We were able to move it up into kind of the middle of the midfield, but when it came to actually fashioning chances, we really struggled with that, and I think you've got to give a lot of credit to Forest for that.
In terms of how that affects us going forward, Liz, is something that you're interested in, like how we click? I suppose it felt like we clicked on Wednesday night, and it felt like we were into the gears that we wanted to be in, but we're still looking to work out what's best for us in many regards. It's something like, Tom Kenny didn't have his best game today, and that's no real disrespect to him. They played really well against him, and Ben Watson did a fair good job of shutting him down. But when you look at someone like Kenny and you want him to pull the strings in that midfield, is it going to be learning how to work from that? And we spoke about Campbell. I suppose it comes back. We spoke about Cavallero in this regard a couple of weeks back. Like, he doesn't get on his bike as soon as Kenny gets the ball in the same way that Knockout does. I think Knockout kind of gets it a bit more. He goes, oh, Kenny's got it, I should get him behind.
Yeah.
Cavallero's a little bit more like, oh, I'll get wide and make some space.
Yeah.
Is that just getting to know each other, getting to know each other's strengths and building from that?
I think it's a mixture. I think there's, obviously quite a few new players in towards the end of the window. We have to kind of learn to adapt to each other's styles. I'd be more concerned about what the plan B is. It worked on Wednesday night. Everything went in our favour, and that's not going to happen every day. We tried to do the same things today, but it didn't work, and it's quite clear early doors that it wasn't working. The closest we came, apart from the goal that we got in the end, the closest we came was from when there'd been deflections and it, unsided the keeper or things like that. And I don't mean that, in a bad way to our strikers or our guys up front, but it sort of shows you that we need to find a different way to play, because we're not playing Millwall every week. And to be fair, if we were playing Millwall again today, I don't think it would be the same scoreline. Everything went for us on Wednesday night. My worry is that Scott Parker's idea today was to just bring on all the attacking players he had and put them wherever on the pitch that they fit, and unfortunately that might work sometimes, but it's not going to work as a long-term plan.
I wanted to come on to this later, and we will come on to the WMWM and shouts out Scott Parker's 1940s tendencies, because we will come on to it fully. But we had a couple of good chances before the break, and then after the break we thought we'd equalised, which was a little bit frustrating, but such is life. And also, if we equalise on 46 minutes, I think this is a different game.
I think so, and if we got it to 1-1, we could have turned the screw a bit. But yeah, I think it's one of those. Forest was so clinical with their chances, and we just weren't. I think, just to kind of agree with your point, Lids, especially I thought it was really interesting with the fullbacks of how they tucked in kind of so central. They were playing the kind of defensive midfield role, and clearly that's Scott's plan, which is great. But I think there were times where you looked at them and you thought, they could push a bit further forward. They could link up with the wingers, and they were a little bit wasted. And I saw one time in particular, Mitrovic was kind of had pulled off to the left wing. He was right, in the opposition box, and there was no one near him. That's normally where you'd have Joe Bryan up and, working together with the strikers and being able to put across him. But Joe, because he'd been given those instructions, stay in a more defensive midfield role, it was a bit frustrating. And whilst it's great that Scott has this plan, I'd like to see the players have a bit more freedom and, have the confidence and have the responsibility to, decide themselves.
When they need.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't stick too wedded to the plan. And yeah, that was one frustration for me in the first half, I thought.
John Barnes once said there's only one way to beat them, and that's around the back. And if we're going to go by that analogy and go by John Barnes' laws of the game, our fullbacks didn't kick on today in the way that we saw them kick on against Millwall.
No, they kind of got shunted a little bit, and I think, to be fair, I think a lot of that was Forest. They did their jobs right. Sometimes I kind of felt like, between Joe Bryan and Stephen Sessegnon, they were running into brick walls every single time. And I mean, for a lot of the game, Sess was being marked, or vice versa, by Sammy Amiu, who's about twice his height.
He's a big man.
And and you're kind of like, what? There's only so much movement that you can do to actually atone for that, and I think that we just weren't getting it today, and we needed to change.
I was going to be really upset if Sammy Abiyobi had scored a header at the back post. I was waiting to be upset by that, and it didn't happen.
Did you notice how Mawson kept running across for the goal kicks? Mawson would kind of stand next to Steve and be like, "It's all right, mate, I've got this," and he would protect him.
Yeah.
It was sweet. It was like having a little father figure next to him. I quite liked it.
If the boys are looking after each other, I'm completely okay with that.
Yeah.
Look, we piled on the pressure, and actually after the break, Fulham were very much the more likely team to score, I think, for a lot of it. And while we didn't create any massive clear-cut chances. Apart from one where Stephen Sessions decided to square it instead of shooting from about 7 yards out, which I never really understood. But we move on, and then they hit us with a real sucker punch, and it's not good from Stephen Sess. Let's put it that way.
It's not, and it's a shame. I think it's a small negative mark on 2 really great games that he's had.
3.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's lost possession. But I think you've got to look at Ream there, who came across the cover and just kind of overran the play completely. It wasn't grab and did a small shimmy. It was enough to completely sell Ream the dummy, and then. It was a wonderful finish from Grab.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's a little bit lucky, but it's
yeah. I mean, at the near post, I think keepers often get a bit of more hate than they should from letting things in at the near post. But it was a great finish, and I think. Credit where credit's due. Forest did the ultimate smash and grab performance today.
Smash and grabbing.
Yes,
Hey.
wonderful. Good play on words.
This is it.
Yeah, that's what we're here
This is
for.
where I come from. Look, I can't lay any blame at Betts' door for that goal. It's an unbelievably good finish from the ankle, and yes, it goes in the near post, but sometimes you don't stop him. And I suppose for me, the only thing that stands out is I don't want to lay massive blame at Stephen Sess's door, because he's, like you say, he's had 3 unbelievable performances. I would just like to point out that if that was Cyrus Christie, there'd be a live crucifixion happening, at the Craven Cottage, like Hammersmith End, with people burning torches and stuff. People make mistakes.
Yeah. I mean, I can agree with you to a certain extent here. I think Cyrus is hung out to dry on far too many occasions by us as fans. But in the 3-4 games Sess has played for us, it's maybe been one mistake.
Oh no, I'm not saying we should hang him out to dry.
Yeah, I know, but
The
what
very
I'm
opposite
saying in comparison, whereas Christie has, unfortunately for him, made too many of them. And while I don't for a second think he deserves the abuse that he's had, I think it's shameful actually. I think that it's hard to compare the 2 situations for me.
It's just one of those ones where it sticks out in that Sess is young and he's one of our own, and we should protect him at all costs. In that we should be looking at our players and thinking, sometimes they make mistakes, and it's unfortunate, and then that happens. And I think it ties into the fact that Cyrus came on today and he looked petrified every time he got the ball.
He did. I mean.
We've done this to him.
Yeah,
we've done this to him, and
Yeah.
look, we've discussed it so much. If anyone hasn't seen, there's a great article on our website all about.
Oh, please do read it.
I'd recommend you go and check it out.
Good.
We've talked about it so much. I so want him to do well, but a lot of me thinks, he was clearly so devoid of confidence. When he gets the ball at his feet, he's so worried about making a mistake that he can't really do anything positive. I'd love nothing more for him to turn it around, prove all those doubts wrong, bang on in, absolutely. But there's part of me feeling now with Steve doing so well. I mean, the potentially in the sake of side, Stephen doing so well.
Stephen Sessions has been brilliant, and he should be starting the games. This is not we should not be starting Stephen Sessions. They're going to make mistakes. They're young. Remember Ryan when he started made mistakes, defensive errors.
100%. But there's a part of me thinking that the best thing for Christie's career right now might be to find a new club. I mean, a fresh start, reset things, refresh the mind. It might be the right thing for him, because I'm convinced he's got the quality.
Oh yeah.
But rebuilding his confidence at this club is going to be so difficult for him.
Like every footballer needs a home. Every footballer, we've seen that with Alexander Mitrovic. That he got slated at Newcastle, yet he's become an absolute Fulham icon. And Cyrus needs that. He needs a club. He does need a bit of love, and I'm really gutted that we've become a club who a player has come to and had a really bad experience. I'm gutted about that, but I do feel that at this stage I don't think there's much we can do to kind of fix it.
Without a wholesale, like, look at everybody looking at themselves. I just don't think there is anything that can happen. And I wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want him to be a success. I would love him to be a success here. But like you say, George, at the moment I can't see it. And that's nothing to do with him or his ability. It's just the fact that he's now being tagged with this thing that he is not good enough. And that's...
He's a scapegoat.
Has become the scapegoat for Fulham. Let's take it back to the game for a little while, and no disrespect, I love Cyrus, you know this. We scored. Scott went to this. Let's talk about it. He went to this formation, and I have no idea what was. Steph came off for Bobby Reed at half time. We went to a 4-1-4-1. Harry Arter behind a four of Cavallero, Kearney, Bobby Reed, and Knockout behind Mitrovic, and we looked quite good for long periods. And then when we went 2-0 down, Scott went 3-2, 3-2, and this is unreal, like unbelievable. We had Kamara playing wing back, we had Knockout playing wing back, we had Cavallero behind the striker, we had Kearney in the 6. What on earth is going on?
It's madness. Like I was saying, I think the first sub was the right one to make. I thought at half time, bringing Reed on for Johansson, who I don't think had a bad game.
I thought Johansson was good.
Thought he was good.
We didn't need him and Arter.
We didn't need the defensive cover. It made sense. But by the time the second goal in, as we were walking over, I was liking it to when you play as Argentina on FIFA, you put Messi on, you put Higuain on, you put Aguero on, you put Dybala on. You get all these guys on.
Get him up!
And then Mascherano at the back, who's meant to kind of mop up everything. And it never works. And it didn't quite work today. I thought it was...
To be fair, we won 1-0 when we went 3-2, 3-2.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that. It was a really... it was... I've never seen anything like it. It was, the epitome of throwing the kitchen sink at it.
It was kamikaze football, and it didn't work. And
it kind of did work. We didn't play. I don't think anyone's played. I think it's a variation, and George will back me up here, of the WM, which was the famous formation that basically started in football. And I don't think anyone's played it since the 1940s. And although Scott Parker has a World War II haircut,
short back and sides.
Short back and sides, respect, little quiff, we're good. I don't think that anyone has actually played that formation since 1950, and there's a reason
for it. There's a reason, yeah, I was going to say that. There's a reason why. I think I can kind of understand where he was going with it, but at the same time, I think it's more to do with a lack of a plan B than this is our plan B. I do not think that was our plan B. I think that was I don't know what to do, so let's everyone who can play up front, let's go on the pitch. And I think it was. I feel a bit bad saying that because I love Scott and I think he's doing a really good job with his. But I mean, I think he was completely out of ideas today.
Yeah, and to see that so early into the season, so early into his career, like. If we were losing a cup final and there was 5 minutes left, you can kind of almost expect that and it's the right thing to do. But, losing 2-0 to Nottingham Forest, that to me kind of screams of a bit of an experience. Like, if I'm bringing back to FIFA again, the second time this video, like if I'm playing online in FIFA and I'm losing, that's the kind of thing I do. And it's a really good thing that I'm not a football manager.
We might have done a triple sub.
Yeah, exactly. At half time, it was very much throwing the kitchen sink at it, and I can kind of get the second sub and making it as attacking as it was, but bringing in Christie for Mawson near the end as well. It did.
I can see why. I see why he did it. We had no players on the right wing at one point, like zero players.
I thought that was more normal than the Sessegnon for Kamara.
Agreed.
But
I'm with Liz.
But it just felt that he just looked on his bench. Who's the most attacking player we've got? Oh, Christie. Oh, just get him on any way we can. It just, to me, that felt more like a panic than the second one. Although I would have
understood Christie for Sessegnon.
Yeah.
But
yes,
I absolutely would have got that. But
I remember thinking when Kamara came on, because I was joking to the bloke behind me in the stand. I was like, he's like, Kamara's getting ready. I was like, where's he going to bring him on? I was like, you're going to bring off Cavallero or Knockout? And I was like, I'll tell you what, he's going to bring him on at right back. And
he did.
And then suddenly the numbers come up, and I was like, oh my god, he's actually brought him on at right back. And then obviously they changed it. But I would have had less problem if Knockout had gone to right back.
Yeah.
If Knockout had gone to right back and we'd kept the whole formation,
Yeah.
I would have been like, okay, at least we've got a right back who can whip it.
Yeah.
Like,
Abu Kamara as right back is.
he didn't play
He
right
wasn't
back.
playing
But,
right
like,
back. Yeah, he was just
There's a few
there,
times he tracked that
somewhere.
far back. Yeah, I don't quite know what he was doing.
I don't
Right,
think
let's come on to the goal. We scored.
Right, okay.
Kamara actually
It
did.
was an accident.
I know it was an accident, but Kamara did set up an assist. It did set up a goal. He did get an assist today. Brilliant finish from Mitrovic. Look, I'm not going to give wild credit to the assist because I think Kamara swung a boot at it, but he does make the goal happen.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got that many people that far forward and you keep knocking it in the box, one of them's going to go in. Like, I don't think there's that much more to say about it than that.
It was a good finish.
Yeah, it's a brilliant finish.
Really good
I
finish.
thought we crossed the ball actually way too much today. That would
I'd
be
agree
my
with
take
that.
on it.
Yeah.
They had
Yeah.
two centre-backs who were very, very adept at heading the ball away,
Yep.
and we crossed the ball a lot.
Yeah, it kind of a little bit reminiscent of when United tried to do it to us all those years ago, and Dan Burn.
Dan Burn.
Don't
It was
mention
kinda
that
like
name on
that.
this podcast.
Dan Burn.
Burn, baby, burn.
But
Doing
it's
bits
just,
for Brighton now.
but that's exactly it though. Like we
Scored a really good offside assist.
There was other ways we could have, went into the box, and it just didn't happen for us.
But that's
today.
where I suppose it comes all the way back round. That's where you want Tom Kearney pitching clever passes,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
not wenking the ball out to the wingers and being like, do what you need to do.
Yeah.
That's not the point. The point is,
Yeah.
you want to have your wingers stretched so that the game is stretched, and then pick the correct pass. And a lot of the time today, I thought TC just played it wide.
I was going to say, I think I was actually kind of disappointed with TC's performance today. We mentioned it before how in the new role he needs to play a bit more like an 8 and run up and down the pitch a bit more.
Especially when Bobby Reed's on.
Especially when Bobby Reed's on. He didn't really do that. I feel there were kind of glimpses of, I remember when Norwood came into the side a couple of seasons ago, and it felt like they were both trying to play, both Norwood and TC were trying to play that kind of like deep line playmaker role, and they overlapped a bit, and I'm seeing bits of that with Arter and Kearney. Arter's I'm really, really impressed with Harry Arter actually.
I
He's
think he's
very
probably man
solid.
of the match today.
I'd say so, and the ratings are saying that so far as well. But I think Arter, because he's so comfortable there, TC doesn't need to drop back, and I think TC's kind of happy place is that CDM, that deeper role. He's not as happy in those attacking positions,
Which is weird for a 10.
It is weird, and I think he looked a little bit lost today. I think he didn't quite know what his role was. I don't think the role that Parker put him in quite suited him. I don't think he suits that Arter role. I'm not saying for a second he should play that role, but
No.
I think we might need to look at the balance a bit and find a position for Kearney that works. So I don't really think it worked for him today.
Do you think he needs to just turn out more? Like, he gets the ball a lot and he just sort of sits with it back to goal and looks to spread. Where, if he could turn out and maybe shift a man while he does it, suddenly the whole game would open up.
Yeah, I think when you're playing centre mid, you need to be able to rotate constantly, and you need to be able to see the whole pitch. And I know that's difficult to do, but you can see that when the ball's coming to him, he's looking around for his next pass. But quite often he was looking in the same places. He was looking, if he was getting the ball from the left, he was opening his body up and putting it back to Ream or Mawson, and then getting it back again. And I think you need. It would be ideal if it was a Fulham game. I think you're right.
You want Tom Kearney looking
forwards,
right?
He needed to switch that and not go safe and go back, but try and be a bit more ambitious. There's only a couple of times today he tried a little slide through. None of them come off, unfortunately, but they were maybe an inch or two away. Do it a few more times. Every time there was a player it was going to.
Right.
It was going towards someone, and I think a couple more attempts at that, then we might have had a chance on goal.
Of course. Liz, final thoughts on today then?
Probably overall a bit disappointed, but I think, as I said at the start, it's very early in the season. I think we just dust ourselves down and move on to the next one.
George, final thoughts?
Credit to Forest, they did their job really well, but I think if we put in this kind of performance every week, we'll win more games than we don't.
Absolutely, and Fulham, while we haven't got the 3 points today, or any points today at all, in fact, weren't awful. We should not panic, and although we've I don't think we'd hit the rocks. We'd just taken a little detour from HMS Pistol League to stop in Nottingham for a little while, and that's important to remember. We're early doors. We're still in the playoff spots. There's plenty to be excited about, and with this front three, we're always going to win games. So, thank you so much, George Singer. Thank you so much, Lydia Campbell. I've been Jack Collins. This has been Fulhamish live from the Old Suffolk Punch on the Fulham Palace Road. We'll see you in here after every home game. Please feel free to join us. You Whites, we go again.